This is Charlotte, my older sister. She works at the courthouse, filing papers and stuff. My sister Brianna said it with a laugh, like it was nothing, like I was nothing. Ethan's mother looked me up and down, her smile polite but empty. Brianna kept going. She's always been the practical one, not like me. The group laughed, soft, condescending laughter that made my face burn. I stood there smiling, pretending it didn't sting. What none of them knew was that I'd see Brianna's fiancé again in 2 days, and he wouldn't be laughing. My name is Charlotte Miller, and I'm 31 years old. For 8 years I worked in the court system. Started as a clerk, making barely enough to cover rent. But while I was filing those papers Brianna joked about, I was also attending law school at night. No one in my family helped me pay for it. Not a dime. I worked full-time during the day, studied until 2 in the morning, and somehow made it through. My parents didn't come to my law school graduation. Brianna had a brand event that weekend. Something about skincare. They went to that instead. I told myself it didn't matter, but it did. Brianna was always the favorite, the beautiful one, the social one, the daughter they were proud to talk about at dinner parties. I was responsible, serious, boring. 3 weeks before that engagement party, I was appointed as a district court judge, one of the youngest in the state. I wanted to tell them. I really did. But every time I tried, someone interrupted, someone changed the subject, someone made it clear that my life wasn't interesting enough to warrant attention. So I stopped trying. Brianna's world revolved around appearances, her Instagram feed, her follower count, her engagement to Ethan, a corporate attorney from a wealthy, well-connected family. She didn't care about who I was, only about how I made her look. I wasn't glamorous or connected like Brianna, but I had something they didn't expect, respect I'd earned on my own. Has your family ever treated you like this? Share your story below. The engagement party was at some upscale restaurant downtown, the kind of place with cloth napkins and waiters in vests. I wore a simple black dress, professional, clean, appropriate. Brianna's eyes scanned me the second I walked in. "Oh, Charlotte," she said, her voice just loud enough for others to hear. "Couldn't you have worn something nicer? This is important." I forced a smile. "You look beautiful, Bri." She did. She always did. Ethan's parents hosted the event. His father was a senior partner at some big law firm. His mother wore pearls and spoke in that smooth, practiced tone that wealthy people use when they're being polite but not warm. During introductions, Ethan's mother asked what I did for work. I opened my mouth to answer. Brianna cut me off. "She's been working at the courthouse forever, administrative stuff mostly." I blinked. "Actually, Charlotte's just happy to have steady work," Brianna continued, talking over me like I wasn't even there. "She was never ambitious like that." Ethan shifted uncomfortably beside her, but he didn't say anything. I felt the sting in my chest, but I swallowed it. This was Brianna's night. I didn't want to make a scene. Later, she pulled me aside near the coat check. Her voice dropped low, almost a hiss. "Please don't try to make this about you tonight. Just blend in, okay?" I stared at her, my own sister. "Sure," I said quietly. At dinner, Brianna stood and gave a toast. She thanked Ethan's family for welcoming her. She talked about her work as an influencer, about building her brand, about how grateful she was for all the opportunities coming her way. Then she looked at me. "And thanks to my sister for coming tonight, even though she doesn't really understand this world." A few people laughed awkwardly. I smiled and raised my glass, even though my hand was shaking. I excused myself to the restroom a few minutes later. I just needed a moment to breathe. As I walked down the hallway, I heard voices around the corner, Brianna's voice and Ethan's mother. "Don't worry, Charlotte won't be around much," Brianna said. "She's not really our kind of people, if you know what I mean." I froze. My own sister was ashamed of me. I didn't go back to the table. I grabbed my coat and left. A week later, Brianna posted about a bridal brunch on Instagram. Mimosas, flower arrangements, pastel balloons. She didn't text me about it, but I assumed I was invited. I was her sister. I showed up at the venue, a trendy cafe with marble countertops and gold fixtures. Brianna's face went tight the second she saw me. "Oh," she said, "I thought you'd be working." "I took the morning off," I said. She glanced at her bridesmaids, then back at me. "This is just for the bridesmaids and close friends." The words hit like a slap. "I'm your sister," I said quietly. "I know," she said, her tone clipped. "But you're always so busy with your job. Plus, you wouldn't really get the vision I'm going for." Her friends stared. Some looked uncomfortable. Others looked curious, like they were watching a show. I didn't argue. I just turned around and left. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely get my keys out of my purse. A few days later, my parents hosted a dinner to celebrate Brianna's engagement. My dad stood at the head of the table, glass raised. "To our successful daughter," he said, beaming, "marrying into such a wonderful family." Everyone clinked glasses. I tried to be happy for her. I really did. But when my mom turned to me, all she said was, "Charlotte, did you see Brianna's ring? 3 carats." "It's beautiful," I said. "Actually, I wanted to tell everyone something." Brianna cut me off. "Oh, Charlotte, not everything has to be about you." My dad chuckled. "Let your sister have her moment, hun." I closed my mouth. No one noticed. After dinner, Brianna cornered me in the kitchen. "Honestly, Charlotte," she said, her voice sharp, "it's embarrassing how jealous you are of me." I just stared at her. I didn't even have words. I left early. Didn't say goodbye. A few days later, my phone rang. Brianna. Her voice was suddenly sweet, friendly. "Hey, Char, I need a favor." I should have known. "Can you use your courthouse connections to rush our marriage license paperwork?" she asked. "We're trying to move the timeline up." I sighed. "It doesn't work like that, Brie." "Come on," she said, her tone shifting. "You must know someone. What's the point of your job if you can't even help family? It's not about connections. There are legal timelines. I already told my friends you could pull strings." She snapped. "Don't make me look like a liar." "Brianna, you're useless," she said. "I don't even know why I bother with you." She hung up. I sat there staring at my phone. For the first time, I seriously considered not going to the wedding at all. But the next morning, I was back in court. My courtroom. I presided over a civil case that morning. Both attorneys presented their arguments. I listened carefully, asked questions, made notes. When I gave my ruling, the room was silent, respectful. "Thank you, Your Honor," one of the attorneys said as he gathered his papers. "Your Honor." After the session, I sat in my chambers reviewing files. There was a knock on the door. Judge Patricia Rodriguez stepped in. She was my mentor, the woman who'd encouraged me to apply for the appointment in the first place. "You seem distracted," she said gently. I hesitated. Then I told her. "My family still thinks I'm a clerk. I keep meaning to tell them, but they've never really asked," she finished. I nodded. My throat felt tight. She leaned forward. "The truth has a way of coming out, and when it does, make sure you're standing tall." That afternoon, I received a formal invitation in the mail. It was for Ethan's law firm's annual charity gala. My name was printed on the guest list as a judicial honoree. They were recognizing my recent appointment. I checked the date, 2 days before the wedding. I sat there for a long time, staring at the invitation. Should I go? Should I tell Brianna first? Then I thought about everything she'd said, everything she'd done, and I decided. I'd earned the right to attend professional events without needing her permission. What they didn't know was that in 48 hours everything would change, and I wouldn't have to say a single word. The night of the gala, I wore a navy gown, simple, elegant. My hair was pinned back. When I arrived, a senior partner from Ethan's firm greeted me at the entrance. Judge Miller, he said warmly, shaking my hand. We're so honored you could join us tonight. I smiled. Thank you for the invitation. Inside, the ballroom was full of attorneys, judges, legal professionals, people I'd worked with, people who respected me. I spotted Ethan across the room. He was talking to a group of colleagues, laughing, networking. He hadn't noticed me yet. Midway through the evening, the firm's managing partner took the stage. We are honored tonight to recognize several members of our legal community, he said, including one of the district's youngest appointed judges, Judge Charlotte Miller. Applause filled the room. I stepped onto the stage, gave a brief speech about integrity and justice. As I walked back down, I locked eyes with Ethan. His expression shifted. Confusion, then shock, then recognition. He made his way over to me a few minutes later. Judge Miller, he said slowly. I had no idea. You're Brianna's sister? I looked at him calmly. She didn't mention it? He looked genuinely embarrassed. She said you worked at the courthouse, but I thought... He trailed off. There was a long, awkward silence. You'll be at the wedding, of course? He asked. I kept my voice cool. I haven't decided yet. His face went pale. I think Brianna and I need to talk. I nodded. Then I walked away. Later that night, my phone rang. Brianna. She had no idea what had just happened. "Oh, this wedding is so stressful," she said. "The florist messed up the centerpieces, and the seating chart is a nightmare." I stayed quiet. "You wouldn't understand, Charlotte," she continued. "You've never planned anything this important." I bit my tongue. Then she said it. "Oh, I'm seating you toward the back at the reception. Ethan's family wants front tables for important guests." That was it. I was done hiding. The rehearsal dinner was the next night. I almost didn't go, but then I realized I deserved to stand up for myself. When I arrived, both families were already mingling. Champagne glasses clinked. People laughed. Brianna spotted me and rolled her eyes. "Oh, good. You're here," she said flatly. "Can you help me carry some gifts out to the car?" Like I was hired help, not her sister. Across the room, I saw Ethan pull Brianna aside. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I could see her face. Confused, then dismissive. She shook her head. A minute later, she walked over to me, her expression annoyed. "Ethan says you're a judge now?" she said. "What's that about?" I looked her in the eye. "I am a judge," I said steadily. "I was appointed to district court 3 weeks ago." She laughed. Out loud. "Charlotte, don't be ridiculous. You're a clerk." My voice stayed calm, firm. "I was a clerk 8 years ago. Then I went to law school at night, became an attorney, and was appointed to the bench last month." Her smile faded. "You're lying," she said. "You would have told us something like that." "I tried to," I said quietly. "You talked over me every single time." Before she could respond, Ethan's father walked over. He was a senior attorney, well respected in the state. He looked at me, recognition dawning on his face. "Wait," he said slowly. "Judge Miller, from Riverside District Court." He turned to address me formally. "Your Honor, I had no idea you were Brianna's sister. It's an honor." The conversations around us stopped. People turned to look. Brianna's face went white. Murmurs spread through the room. She grabbed my arm and pulled me into the hallway. Her voice was shaking, with anger, with humiliation. "You did this on purpose," she hissed, "to embarrass me at my own wedding." I didn't back down. "No, Brianna," I said. "You embarrassed yourself by assuming I was still someone you could look down on. I never looked down on you. You introduced me as just a clerk," I said, my voice rising. "You excluded me from your bridal party. You told Ethan's mother I'm not your kind of people. I heard you say it." Her face crumpled. "I didn't mean it like that." "Yes," I said. "You did." And the saddest part? I would have been happy for you. I would have celebrated you. But you made me feel worthless. She tried to say something, some half-hearted apology. But it wasn't real. It was just damage control. I'll still come to your wedding tomorrow, I said quietly. Because you're my sister. But after that, I'm done trying to earn respect from people who refuse to see me. I walked away, head high. Ethan found me a few minutes later. I'm sorry, he said, for how my family treated you, for not speaking up. I looked at him. You saw how they treated me. You said nothing. I know, he said. That was wrong. It wasn't a redemption, just acknowledgement. My parents finally approached me. Why didn't you tell us you were a judge? My mom asked, bewildered. I looked at her. I've been trying to tell you for weeks, I said quietly. No one was listening. The next day, I went to the wedding. I wore a soft rose-colored dress, did my hair and makeup carefully. I carried myself differently now. When I arrived at the reception, I noticed the seating chart had been changed. I was at a front table now. Ethan had quietly fixed it. The ceremony was beautiful. Brianna looked stunning, but I felt distant from all of it, like I was watching from somewhere far away. At the reception, several of Ethan's family members came up to me. They asked about my work, spoke to me with genuine respect. Brianna tried to pull me aside for a selfie. For Instagram, she said brightly, like nothing had happened. I shook my head. No, thank you. Her face fell. Are you seriously going to hold a grudge forever? I met her eyes. No, I said calmly. I'm just not going to pretend everything's fine when it's not. Later, my dad gave a toast. He called me our judge, tried to claim pride he'd never shown before. I gave a small, polite smile, but I didn't engage. I left the reception early, before they even cut the cake. I drove home with the windows down, the cool night air rushing in, and for the first time in years I felt light. I realized something that night. I didn't need their validation. I never did. For once, their silence didn't hurt me. It freed me. If this story hit home for you, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Have you ever been underestimated by the people who were supposed to believe in you? Ever had to prove yourself to your own family? Share your story below. I want to hear it. And remember this, your worth isn't determined by who sees it. It's determined by who you are when nobody's watching. I read every single comment, and I'm building a community where we actually lift each other up. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one.